Hey, you guys. Welcome back to another Coaching for Coaches episode. Today, I have the pleasure of hearing from and picking the brain of one of my friends who's been an entrepreneur for more than a decade. It's fascinating how time flies when you're having fun, when you're learning, when you're growing, and you don't quite, they say you don't know the good old days until you're out of it. I feel like sometimes we don't quite understand how much we've learned, how much we've grown until we take a look back and see just how far we've come. So she is a born entrepreneur and a strong advocate for building businesses that align with purpose. As a freedom-driven mother, she has continually evolved her business to reflect her values and beliefs, always striving to teach others how to achieve success and build impactful businesses while reducing work hours so you can spend more time with family, raising kids, right? Both and we can build thriving businesses and have a thriving family. For several years, she was a successful owner and operated a salon and on-site wedding business where she enjoyed working with her clients. However, there was a pull for more impact, empowering others in a more profound way. And a lot of life changes, right, you guys, when you start having kids. And so for her daughter was born, and she thought there's got to be a better way. And she embarked on a journey to become an expert in business strategy, online marketing, and leadership. Her mission now is to teach individuals how to find freedom and create their dream lifestyle by sharing creative, customized business strategies that allow them to work intentionally and focus on their goals. Originally from Vancouver Island, BC, Canada, she and her family currently reside in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Say what? Yeah, talk about dream life. Her business or influence extends beyond her teaching platform as she actively shares valuable business building ideas. Her ultimate goal is to empower others to create multiple streams of income, which allow them to live outside a system designed to keep us broke, to pursue their passions and to live a fulfilling life that inspires children to inspires their children as well. So she has a true passion in helping other entrepreneurs create a life they love. So big welcome to Christina Whiteley.
Denise, it's always so good to see you. I can't believe how
Goes
quickly
wild.
the time goes by and man, all these little pieces of your journey come together, I used to think that success was this one big grandiose explosion of hitting a goal, like your end goal. And then I realized, oh man, it's all about the journey. And I'm so grateful for you being a part of that.
Absolutely. You're right. I think a lot of times new entrepreneurs step in and they're like, well, when I hit this or when this happens, then. But as being CEOs of our own business for over 10 years now, we know that things change, we learn and grow, and we're always leveling up and creating new goals. So one thing that you said that I thought was really fascinating is you transition your business to fit your life. And pre-kids, it looked one way, right?
Yeah.
Where you were like, all right, I'm going every night and weekend, I'm doing weddings, you were a hustler. And then
Yep.
when kids came around, life changed. And I think that's a really powerful permission for people to have. Like, you can shift your business to fit your life. Tell us a bit more about why and how you did that.
I think that it's so important to realize that there are no rules. You get to decide what's important to you. When I was a little girl, people asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said, I want to be a mom. And so raising kids for me, raising contributing, kind, thoughtful, aware, awake kids that are going to go out and make a difference in the world, that is just as important to me, if not more important than building business. And we get this tiny amount of time with them, right? That makes an impact. And even the first 5 to 7 years, how you build them up, the skill set that you give them, how you raise them will contribute to who they become in adulthood. So I look at it as, it's a big investment of your time in the beginning. But in the end, that's how it pays off. Like most investments, right? It compounds over time. And so I was a hustler. I worked full-time in my salon. I worked a bartending gig. I worked weddings on the weekend. I was like, show me the money. I will work hard. I will outwork everyone, right? I want to live this high quality of life. I want to be able to travel whenever I want. I want to be able to have no rules in my life. And I loved that piece. But when I had my daughter, I knew that I wanted something, like I wanted to set my life up so that when I had kids, I had the freedom and flexibility to be at home with them. Not only that, I really had a strong desire to have my husband at home. I know you get this amazing life as well, right? But I had the strong desire because in my upbringing, and like we always want better for our kids than we had, and I'm so grateful for what I had in my upbringing, right? Like both of my parents worked really hard. We didn't have a mortgage. When I was in high school, I didn't realize like how crazy that is now as an adult. We didn't want for anything more. Both my parents worked blue collar jobs and had their 2 to 4 weeks vacation, their holidays. But I just saw that as handcuffs. Like I went to university, I fell asleep in every class. It was not for me. I'm a doer. I figure things out as I go. And I thought, like, why does everybody work for their vacations? Is like everybody will take like 6 weeks to plan a vacation, but they don't actually enjoy their everyday life. And that was what was modeled to me. My mom loved her job, but my dad worked very, very hard to make an income. And he complained about work all the time. And I was like, man, like subscribing to 40 years of something that you hate just to make money sounds terrible. Like really bad. So I wanted something different. And I really believe that you can take your skills, you can build skills to create a lifestyle that you love, so that when you're working in that lifestyle, like I just say no to everything that doesn't align with what I want next. And so many of us make decisions based on past experience and fear, and what we could lose versus what we could gain. And there's risk in that, of course. You've got to build confidence to be able to take those risks, because you have to believe that you are resilient and resourceful and you can figure it out, because we're all capable of that. But it was just a different way of thinking. And it's unconventional, but man, like we have a pretty great life on the beach.
Right. Because not only did you, all right, you had your child, and this was years ago, and you thought, all right, well, how can I make money without having to leave my house? And so you have to get creative with that. And I know you found network marketing. And what I love in network marketing is it gives us a place to build entrepreneur skills that we then can take with us wherever we go. And so what are the business skills that you found you needed to learn in the beginning?
Oh my gosh. Communication was like number one. Marketing and sales. I had to learn influential leadership, because it's different in running your own business and network marketing to lead than it is to be in corporate, where people are paid and they have to listen to you if you have a superior I was going to say rank, but a superior position, right? So it really taught me the people business. And really that's what sales is. Once you learn sales skills and marketing skills, like you'll never go without a job. You just learn how to sell higher ticket things, right? You learn how to make more money. You learn how to solve bigger problems. And so often I think people get stuck in this rut of like these little objections and like, oh, maybe my product or my service isn't that great, because people keep saying no. And it could be your positioning. It could be your language. It could be that they just haven't had enough exposure or education on what you're doing yet. But those skills are transferable throughout your entire life. And I'm so grateful, because I remember speaking with somebody early on. I had a ton of success in the beginning. And I remember saying, I'm stuck at this income level. Like, I can't understand why I can't break through this income level. It was leadership, by the way, and layered leadership. And she said, you've been in the industry for like 2.5, 3 years. She's like, Christina, how much money did you spend at university? And I was like, I don't know, like $5,000, $10,000 a year. It's a little bit cheaper in Canada than it is in the US to go to university. And she said, no, like all your schooling, like your food, your housing, your everything, right? I was like, I don't know, probably 200 grand. And she's like, so here you are making more than that a year, and you're worried about capping out. You're getting paid to learn. And I was like, oh, this light bulb went on. All of a sudden I had a different perspective, and I realized surrounding myself with people that could give me that perspective when I was feeling like it was a grind was probably one of the most valuable things that I could do. And that's what I found in the network marketing space.
I love that. If you're not growing, you're dying, right? And so network marketing and entrepreneurship in general gives us a place to continue, like a reason to keep learning, to keep going, to keep growing our skills. Sales and marketing was not something I expected to need to know. As a clinical psychologist, my job was to, create space for healing and help people, see themselves 3 steps ahead and all this kind of stuff, which we get to do in coaching and in business. But yet sales and marketing is how they become our client. And it's a skill set that most people don't come in with.
Well, and they don't teach it in university. They don't teach it when you go to school, right? Like I was really lucky when I went to hair school. I picked a specific program with Aveda because they taught business with it. They taught us how to go out and hunt for customers and clients. Like they taught us to go out and build a business. They didn't teach that in the other schools. And that's my biggest beef with university now. I have a friend that is a naturopathic doctor, and she came out of school and she didn't continue down that path because nobody taught her how to build a practice. Nobody taught her how to go find clients or market to them or talk to them or offer services. And I think that is the biggest piece that's missing from our school system these days. If we taught people that, then they could go out and sell whatever skill they had.
What's interesting is I feel like people think they should already know. I know when I wrote my first book, I felt like I should know how to do this.
But nobody taught you.
I should know how to write a book. I should know how to publish it. And it took me years longer because I was trying to figure it out on my own. And I felt like I should already know this thing I've never done before. And I think people come into entrepreneurship thinking the same thing, like, well, I should just already know how to do this. And that's not true. We got to think about it like a school, right? We're always learning. And so as the CEO of your business with kids at home, you moved from Canada to Cabo, you've had life happen. Like, it's not like, I think it's different when I'll just say mom's owning a business and dad's owning a business. And my experience has been different, right? Who picks the kids up from school? Who's managing if we have the house cleaning for the day? Or like, I'm still being mom and running a business. So needless to say, how do you keep your motivation and momentum going, even if you don't feel good?
Yeah, it's interesting because Ryan and I, we have a bit of a different situation, which is cool. We came together and decided that in this partnership, and I know that your husband works really hard on his business too, right? And we just came together in this space. Part of it was because I had postpartum depression and I needed help with the kids, but he kind of stepped into this role. And so a lot of that stuff he takes off my plate, and all I have to do is this. I feel very grateful for that. So I want to be, I want to be really clear about that, because I wouldn't be able to do what I do without him, or we wouldn't have made the moves if we weren't like-minded. But look, there are definitely days that I get up and I'm like, I just want to be with my kids. Like, I just want to cuddle with my baby on the couch and like watch stupid shows, or I just want to, sleep in or whatever. I think what it comes down to, look, you can't motivate anyone, right? You have to find a purpose in what you do that is so much greater than yourself. You have to be so excited about it, because motivation will wane. It will come and go. It will ebb and flow. But when you know why you do something and you work in the highest level of purpose that you have, at your highest level, right? If people just do the average thing that is easy for them, I find that you get bored, you feel unmotivated, it's not inspiring to you. But if you're constantly choosing to strive for more, if you've committed to growth in your life, then you do get out of bed. And maybe some days are not as busy as others. Maybe you have a run for 90 days that you go all in, and then you go on vacation after, or you have an award that you give yourself, you buy something that you want. But doing it in cycles, number one, has been really helpful for me, like hitting smaller goals in cycles and having an award that I actually want, not a monetary one. It could be buying a pair of boots that I have, that I wouldn't necessarily spend money on, or it could be going on a weekend holiday with my family, or doing something special like that, right? But having goals like that where I can push, and then come up for air a little bit and take a break and reevaluate. This is the thing, is that entrepreneurship is just constantly reevaluating, reinventing yourself, and moving through the challenges because our environment is always evolving, right? Our offers are always evolving. The people around us, technology, AI, all of these things are shifting and changing. And so sometimes it can be really frustrating. All the things that you're doing aren't working. And you're like, well, I don't feel like doing more of the same because it's not working, right? But it's putting yourself in a position to win every day, whether that's what you feed your brain through books and podcasts, what you're watching. I see this like viral Netflix special, this catfish, high school catfish thing going on. I'm like, I can't be bothered to watch something like that is going to be so upsetting and detrimental to my well-being. I would rather go listen to a podcast, right? That I'm going to learn something. I'd rather go. We actually watched F1 last night, which I thought was so cool because Brad Pitt with strategy and that, like I wasn't expecting all this. It was really cool. And so I really want to spend my time intentional, not to say that I don't take breaks and that's why I'm bringing up these things, right? Like a lot of people binge watch Netflix when they're trying to procrastinate. I would rather be intentional about what I'm doing. And I also think mentorship and putting yourself in front of other people or in groups of people that are going to hold you accountable and keep you on track once a week is super powerful, because you will fall out of love sometimes with what you're doing. And sometimes you sit in it for way too long if you don't have people around you that are like, hey, what about this? And challenge you on it.
Right, right. So a few things I heard you say is community, and we get to choose that. And I think sometimes people default their community, their family, or the people they work with, or their friends, their neighborhood. But with the internet these days, right, we get to choose a community, and we truly can choose a community that's going to hold us accountable, believe in us before we believe in ourselves. And when you're surrounded by people that are doing the dang thing, right, you raise to that level of expectation. And then the other thing you said is that discipline over feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I had my son. My son. We are signing him up for a workout class because we're like, okay, you're not doing a sport this semester. You need to do a workout class. There's 3 options, and he keeps saying he wants to do the one that's not today. I'm going to do this. And I said, well, anyway, he's like, I don't feel like it. And I said, here's the deal, bud. You don't do it because you feel like it. You do it because it's good for you. And guess what? You're going to feel good after. I call it enjoy, right? You do it because you know how you're going to feel after you've done it. Because action will shift our feelings way more than waiting to feel like it will.
Yeah, I think that is a really great thing to teach your kids. And by the way, when he goes to the gym, when he comes home, he does feel great after, right? Like he feels amazing after. We've had the same thing with Isabella, and she's 9 and she hasn't quite found her thing yet. And we keep asking her what she wants to do, and she flip-flops a little bit. She does want to do silk. So she knows that she wants to do that. When you find something that they enjoy, obviously pour into it, but they don't know that they're not going to enjoy it, or they don't know that they're going to love it until they actually create it as a habit, right? Doing it once or twice, that doesn't count, right? We all go, maybe you want to try something new like Pilates, and you go do it a couple times and you're super sore and you're like, I don't want to do this again. But by week 3, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling amazing. I'm strong. My body's changing. This is awesome. And so if we can use that kind of discipline in business and just continue to do the work that's necessary, even when we don't feel like it, I know that there's this unshakable faith. And we actually talked about this the other day, so I want to bring it up because it's so important. When I met you almost a decade ago, how crazy is that? I came to one of your workshops, and I was in this space of faith that was spiritually based. And I'm going to be really careful about saying this because I was raised Catholic. I was raised, with God in my life. And I had moved into that space of spirituality, which is you-centered versus him-centered. And when I did that, I did it because I was church hurt. I did it because I was like, these people who love God, they don't act that way, right? So there's a lot of people through self-discovery that go through this space. And in that, when you're you-focused, right, you're not focused on helping other people, you're you-focused, you can really get stuck in that self-sabotage mode. And when I came to your retreat, this amazing dream cruise, I saw these people that had unshakable faith in who they are and what they are giving in acts of service because they believe that they were doing God's work. And I was like, I had to come back around to that. I had to find my way back to that because You have to have this unshakable faith that it is going to work out, that you are resilient, that you are resourceful, and that it's going to work out if you just keep doing it and figuring it out along the way. Because if you don't, you're not going to do the daily work that it takes to get there. On day 20, you're going to probably fall off and be like, none of this is working, right? It might take you day 50, day 90 before you start to pick up the pace and learn the skills through action, because it doesn't happen without taking action. It doesn't happen up here in your head. It happens while you're in the weeds, right? While you're in the trenches. And so I really realized that the work that's being done daily is like that journey piece, right? The piece that we do every single day. That's what we need to fall in love with. The overcoming of challenges, the relationships that we build, the things that we learn through growth and through other communities. That's really what gets us there.
Yeah, absolutely. That unshakable faith is this centeredness, it feels like to me, where it's like the palm tree, right? The palm tree can be in a hurricane and their roots are so deep or they're so strong that it flops back and forth, but it doesn't break. And that unshakable faith is something where we believe in ourselves, we believe in our mission, we believe in our product, and we trust that whatever happens will work out, whether it's immediately or down the line. The other thing that you said is, like at the beginning, you said, all right, I want to set myself up so when I have kids, I can stay home or I've got freedom. You're like, show me the money, show me the money.
Yeah.
And then eventually you got to a place where you said, I create fulfilling and purposeful businesses. So tell me about why that became important.
Because you can't just sell stuff to make money. Like, you have to be so convicted in what you do. There has to be a greater purpose in what you do, or you'll quit when it gets hard. I see it happen all the time. People get into business, they burn through their warm market selling stuff, and then they're like, nobody else is buying. This must not work. It must not be the product, the business. And by the way, you get what you focus on, right? So they start looking for cracks in what they've got in front of them. They start looking for excuses. They start looking for things. Oh, well, there's a shiny penny over there. It looks so much easier to do that business, whatever's on trend, whatever's making money at the time. And people will give up long-term big money for short-term gains, for short-term cash infusion. And we are in a marketplace where people are a little bit more desperate, right? It's been a tough couple of years. We've got a couple tough more years, but guess what? Then it turns around. And so for those of us that are in the trenches right now, building our skills, becoming who we need to become, right? Doing the hard work and gathering the education that we need to be able to solve future problems that we see coming down the pipeline. It's all about creativity, right? And so if you just sell stuff to make money, you're not going to stick with it. You're not rooted deeply in why you're doing it. And it's so much easier to give up. Having a purpose-driven business, one that you can get behind, right? Like, I see so many people, especially in the network marketing space, hop on to the newest trend, right? They're not thinking about their audience or the ecosystem that they built. Most people don't take the time to build an audience. Once they run out of that warm market, they never learn how to go out there and hunt. They never learn how to go out there and build that ecosystem. They don't take the time, because we live in this world of instant gratification where I can order on Amazon and have it here tomorrow. And that is not real life. That is not how you build a legacy. That's not how you build long-term big money, sustainable income. And I wish more people were honest about that. And again, especially in the network marketing space, because people go, oh, it's easy. Anybody can do it. And we use this silly language to hook people in, but that's not true. You need resiliency, you need grit, right? You need discipline, you need tenacity, you need all of these things. You have to be willing to grow. You have to be hungry. You have to be willing to do the work when you don't feel like it. And so if you don't have that rooted in purpose, you're not going to make it. And I've seen it happen time and time and time again. So I would rather take the time to have deeper conversations with people and make sure that it aligns with their story, make sure it aligns with who they are, so that they remember back when things were not going so well for them, the hardest things that they've overcome. I am successful. I can do this, and I can help other people do it too.
talked to a nurse the other day, and she's like, I got into this field because I love people, and now I hate people.
I get
it. And what she said was, it's not fulfilling. Like her role, her current position, I think she's since changed, which is good. But she was able to recognize, I might make good money, but I am not fulfilled. It's not filling my cup. It's draining me. And guess what? That bleeds into every aspect of our lives. One of my favorite quotes is, I don't work my business based on how I feel. I work my business based on what I want. And I think that for me, what I really work to do is to fill my calendar. Because if I have an appointment, if I have an event, if I have a travel plans, if I have a retreat, if I've got something on my calendar, I will do it. I will fulfill that. I will show up regardless of how I'm feeling. But if nothing's on my calendar, it can be really easy to fold laundry or,
Yeah.
clean the floor, or look, I got to go grocery shopping. And so keeping work appointments on my calendar is a hack that I use to keep myself in my own game.
I love that so much. And that was the same, honestly, for me in the hair space. Like I went to school for music, and then I was like, I'm not going to sell my soul for the music industry. So I got into doing hair because I could, dictate my own schedule. I could work when I wanted. If I wanted to work from home when I had kids, like it made logical sense to me, but it wasn't heart connected. And so when I had people come in, and the same people over and over talking to me about a bad boyfriend or a bad job or whatever, like, I'm just a hairstylist. I can't help you evolve into something new. And the other piece of it is, you have to be proof, right? I am so tired of seeing online people that are selling something but are living a completely different life. Like, the reason that my business is called Life Transformed is because I will show you how to transform your life. I will show you how to go from here to there, because we've done it, because we live it. We are the through line. And if you can build a business around your through line, you will never, ever, ever get tired of building that business.
Absolutely. All right. A couple of things that I heard you say throughout our talk today, and then you can let me know if there's anything you want to add. But CEOs, we need to have vision, right? We need to know where we're going. We need to be excited about it. We need to be able to see 3 steps ahead, have that vision for where we want to go. But yet that vision without discipline is wishing. So it's the discipline, the consistent action in one direction that takes us somewhere. Yet it's the purpose that keeps us going.
Yeah, you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. And by the way, your vision may change. When we were living in Canada, we just decided over the course of a year that we were not aligned with the values that were coming down the pipeline for our country. And I feel very sad saying that. There was a lot of grief in that conversation many times. There still is grief, by the way. There still is grief that we decided to do something different that was more aligned with our beliefs and our value system. And people might think moving to Mexico is crazy. It's got its own set of problems, right? But here we feel like we can raise our kids in the way that we truly want to raise our kids. And that, to me, is the most important thing. And so realizing that these different chapters of your life will bring a different vision. The way that I am right now in business, I make decisions based on how present can I be for my kids and make great money, right? But when my son is in school, because my son is 8 years younger than my daughter, so we prolonged that empty nest syndrome that I see a lot of my friends going through. When he's in school, I'm going to have a lot more time to focus on things that are more important to me. And having children is a sacrifice, and it's one that I would make 10 times over, right? Like, for the rest of my life, to be able to have the joy. We have so much more joy in our lives than we ever had before. We laugh more. We have more fun. I get teary even thinking about it, and I think, okay, well, these are just simply chapters of our life, and we have different vision for each chapter of our life, how it works. When we came down to Mexico, we're like, how long are we here for? We are making decisions based every 60 to 90 days on how long we were going to stay. We now bought a home. We built a home. We live here. We've been here 4 years. And so this is that chapter of our lives, but we reserve our right to move to Italy, to move back to Canada, to move to the US. Like, what makes sense right now? What's the next right move for you right now? And then your job is to be so convicted in your values and your belief system that you share that with other people. And I share that wholeheartedly. I share that vulnerably. And I have 3 to 5 people in my inbox every day saying, how did you do it? How can we do it too? right? Because I have the courage to share it that way. Now, will things change? I don't know. And I think that that's really what holds people up, is having this vision that they think is a forever vision of like the mansion, the boat, the, whatever it is that you desire in your life. You have this big vision. Maybe it's a car, right? For us, leaving country and moving somewhere and selling 90% of our assets, 90% of our stuff that I'm like means absolutely nothing. Our values changed in that process. So we changed, we shared that, and we have a completely new audience. So that vision has to be so strong. You can't waver on it. It has to be who you are. And then it's sharing it with people. It's having the energy and the excitement, because everything is energy. It's just simply an energy exchange, an exchange of belief, right? It's sharing it over and over and over again. People are like, I don't know what to share anymore. The same thing in a different way, right? It's the same values, the same thing, just in a different way moving forward. And so I think that that's probably one of the most important things that have like had my North Star, is like strongly rooted in who we are, and all of the other things fall into place as we go.
That's a great way to view it. Your North Star is your values, your priorities, who you be, right?
Yeah.
But yet your vision about how you be that and incorporate that into your life can shift. I had a friend once who bought a cottage, and for a couple of years she had this beautiful cottage, and her family would come, and it was so great. And I remember she was chatting with me once, and she goes, I kind of don't want the cottage anymore. Like, it's kind of too much work. And we're getting older, and we're missing like sport. Like, we can't go as much because all the kids are playing sports now, and she's a grandma. And I said to her, your goals can change. Your dreams can change. Like, you don't need to, just because you've said you wanted a cottage for the last 10 years, now that you have it, it's okay. And I think that just gives us great permission, because our North Star is secure.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We had the 10-acre hobby farm. We had the chickens, we had the garden. My husband planted 500 apple trees for an estate cidery, and everything changed overnight with COVID. And all of a sudden, it was our dream for so long, but all of a sudden the farm was not our dream. We were only there for 5 years. And sometimes I look back and I also grieve that. I miss that, but it wasn't our forever home. Right? We knew that the property was too big. We learned a heck of a lot on that. And hey, maybe she does sell the cottage, and later on in life, she sells everything and they move to a place on a river, on a lake, or whatever. And that becomes her home, right? Like, you just don't know how it's going to go. And I remember somebody saying to me, I was like nervous to make that move of selling the house, even though we doubled our money in our 5 years. And somebody looked at me and they said, Christina, all profit is good profit. And I was like, that's a really good way to look at it, because you're never going backwards. If you're not to say that we haven't made financial mistakes, absolutely. And I really feel that that's something that entrepreneurs, CEOs, we don't talk about enough, that you're going to lose 10,000, a few 10,000s before you hit 100,000. You're going to lose 100,000 on your way to $1 million. You're going to lose $1 million on your way to 10 million. And I wish people knew that, so they didn't take the hit so hard. It's just like, oh, that was an expensive lesson, right? But what did you get out of it? How can we move forward faster? And if you don't, like, your first $1 million is going to be difficult. Your first 5 is going to be difficult. But once you have the capital and the mindset and the education and wisdom from going through all of that, then it gets a lot easier on the other side, right? So we have to talk about those things.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to be working hard. We might as well be working hard for our own legacy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So tell us how people can connect with you. What do you do with your clients now?
So currently, I do retreats with one of my mentors of many, many years, Danelle Delgado, and I've been really excited to partner up with her and work with her and do some coaching for her and her mastermind and her group coaching. But I have a program called the Accelerated Business Academy. I help people go from amateurs online to professionals. I help them figure out their brand and their message and their positioning in a very unique way, because there's way too much noise on social media these days. And so I help them put in the foundational pieces of business that kind of go from dabbling into, okay, now I can scale this to multiple six six-figure business with all the behind the scenes stuff. So that's what I do now. If you want to find me, I'm on Facebook, Christina Whiteley. I'm on Instagram at the Christina Whiteley. I do some pretty interesting topics on TikTok with our life in Mexico, if you're ever curious about what that looks like. And I'm always happy to have a conversation. I think, whether it leads to something or it leads to me connecting you with somebody else, that's the good that we do in the world.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Christina, for sharing decades of entrepreneurial experience. You guys, that's the thing, is you can learn it the hard way on your own, or you can catapult your success by being surrounded by people who've been there, done that, and can support your journey every step of the way. Entrepreneurship, whether you are a coach or in network marketing or are, selling popsicles, right? It's a personal development journey with a compensation plan, and we're here for it. So thank you, Christina, for your wisdom today. You guys, all her links will be in the show notes below.
Thank you so much for having me.